Woo!
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Live at 5 at Madam Mayor's Adventures.
It's Sunday fun day, and I can breathe.
And we're feeling a lot better. So
Woo!
thank you all for the well wishes and the prayers. We appreciate that.
God is good. God
Yeah.
is so good.
Y'all got to round up.
I love to feel good.
It does. It is nice. The other day it was kind of chilly. We walked outside and it was like, but the air, it feels so good.
Yeah, when it was snowing.
Yeah.
It was like so
Snow
so crisp and fabulous.
Yeah, the snow kind of cleans the air, so it filters the air. So
it feels so good to breathe.
It does feel good.
It's like breathe. Debunking, right? It just makes you feel so good.
I need a shirt. Debunk.
So good. Yeah, it's I am over it. Over it. Like we were in church this morning and there were some people coughing and I'm like, oh no,
no,
get the bubble, activate the bubble, stay away, germs.
The guy behind me was coughing.
I ain't having
I leaned forward in the seat going, no, let it go around.
I'm done. I'll be like that mosquito fly swatter just swatting off the germs.
Yep.
Get away. I ain't going down again. This year has been the roughest. I have never gotten this sick. And usually throughout the years, if I did get sick, it was like once a year, day or two, and everything's great.
Yeah.
But this has been rough.
Hey guys, do us a favor as you log on. If you haven't hit that thumbs up button, go ahead and give it a smash if you like our content. It helps the algorithm with the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. We appreciate that. I usually do that when I jump on anybody's live channel. I'll just give them a thumbs up just to help them out, just to help them out. It's a little bump. It's a little bump. That's it. It's not a direct bump in pay. It's just a bump of like. So it helps.
You know what's so awesome? I was looking at the weather.
Yeah.
We are going to be able to open up some windows this week and air out the house. Because I hate being sick and you can't open the windows and air out. I'm Lysoling, spraying the Lysol, washing all the sheets, going around the house. Got the sage, getting rid of all the crazy.
The bad karma.
Yeah, you got to sage up the place. You got to rebuke it all out of the house.
Are you saying we got karma to our left and karma to our right?
I don't really believe in karma. So I just believe in God and prayer and all that. So,
but the weather's supposed to be looking nice. Wednesday, 71 here in South Central Tennessee. What do you think? I love it.
Ooh, garlic. I love me some garlic.
So all winter long, it snowed twice. I think we got around 3 inches or 4 inches.
Yeah, the
first
last
time.
Snow wasn't that much. It melted really fast.
It did. There's still some snow in some shadowed areas off road, but the roads are clear. And we got about 1.5 inches maybe this time, but it didn't really stick to the roads in all areas. Some areas it did stick to the roads, the shadowed areas, the cold areas. But all in all, roads were clear. I don't even know if they canceled school. I think they did, but I don't know. They did. I don't know why they did, honestly. But,
Probably because they wanted to punish the parents.
Yeah, a lot of parents were complaining.
Keep those kids at home.
A lot of parents were complaining that they did it last minute, so they couldn't get babysitters, and so they stayed home. I guess use a sick day, right?
I guess. I know in Ohio, I heard it was so bad you couldn't even get doctor's appointments because all the doctors were sick. So that's a rough situation that a lot of people don't think about. But when your nurses and doctors get sick, then what?
Yeah, then what?
Then you're in a heap of trouble.
Yeah.
So, and I know I had a procedure, an outpatient surgery this week. Brett had a procedure. So now I just have to wait 2 weeks for a follow-up appointment, and then we should be good to go. Yeah. I mean, I think in that time, though, we might do some short little trip because I can't stay.
Yeah, it's time to roll out. What do they say? Who is it that sings that? Roll out. Roll out.
All right. Well, I didn't know Brett was going to sing us a song today.
I ain't going to sing. I ain't got no skills. But Ludacris, I think, sings that. But anyway.
Well, that's just ludicrous.
It is, isn't it?
Boom! Hey, what are you doing here?
You called Ludacris? Somebody called Ludacris? Time to roll out.
Maybe I've had a little too much coffee.
Yeah, I've
been down too long.
I wanted to bring some coffee onto the live, but I've already had 2 cups, and I'm really a 1-cup coffee guy. and at the church I had a second cup, and then like, yeah, I don't need any more coffee.
I'd like a cafe con leche, but I didn't.
Oh yeah,
I didn't get into making one of those.
I could cafe con leche.
Yes.
That's what they ought to have, is a cafe con leche cart in Chiefland. I think it would make money. I do. People that make coffee,
Like a little food truck, but
like a food
coffee
truck. So it needs to move around. So you can hit Chiefland and Bronson and make your way down. Now, if you go down too far south, you're going to run into restaurants that have coffee con leche.
Well, I tell you can't go wrong with a coffee truck.
No, not really.
So
A lot of options being able to move like that. Hey, so we want to send some prayers and out to the two people that got killed actually this week in Otter Creek. There was a
that was
traffic accident.
devastating, and my prayers go out to the families.
Yeah.
I know the families, and it's tragic what happened. Nobody wants to hear of any lives being lost.
No.
So my prayers go out to those families of those two people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a sad situation. I heard it was raining and it was dark. And, that is a dangerous intersection because
it can be.
It can be. Any intersection, any roadway can be dangerous depending on the drivers.
Right.
And the biggest things that make that intersection so dangerous is because everybody's in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
They don't take those few extra moments most of the time to stop. And I know when a lot of the trucks park at Herschel's,
yes,
they'll park right on the roadway. So when you're coming out at those lights, it makes it very hard to see if the roadway is clear.
You can't see around a vehicle parked in front of Herschel's if you're going east on 24. That means you have Herschel's on your left and the post office on your right when you come up to that sign. That's the most dangerous part of that intersection.
I really wish a lot of the trucks wouldn't park the way they do. And I guess they just aren't thinking of other people and they're obstructing the view. But there's actually a driveway behind Herschel's. And if those trucks would use that driveway, that would be really nice.
And it circles all the way around too.
You think they would, just because it's more of a drive through.
Yeah.
And maybe the owner of Herschel's should hang up some signs.
Don't park in the front. Letting
people know not to park there, and maybe to use that drive through, and that could help with those situations. I'm not saying that was the cause of this accident in particular, but I know during a lot of times that can obstruct the view quite frequently over there.
They were on 24, but they were coming west. They were coming from Gainesville toward Cedar Key or toward Otter Creek. So they got hit on the passenger side of the truck, and the bus was coming south on 24 as I was reading it. So they didn't have the Herschel's obstruction.
I wish that everybody would just take a little bit of extra time, because it's really only seconds that you think you're saving yourself by not looking a couple of extra times or stopping. You don't really save yourself that much time that you think you are. Yeah. And in a lot of cases, or in some cases, you could be costing lives.
And there's a flashing light for the people on 24 getting ready to cross over 98. There's blinking red and there's stop signs. Now, for the traffic going north-south on 98, it's a flashing caution light. You don't have to stop. There's a speed slowdown, though, for Otter Creek when they come in on 98. It's 55. It goes from 65 to 55. But as you know, living in Florida, speed limit signs, unfortunately, are suggestions, or just merely suggestions.
Yeah, a lot of people don't pay attention to that.
No.
And, no matter who is at fault in this particular instance, lives were lost. And my prayers go out to the families, because it is sad. And I hope going forward there can be lessons learned or better ways to approach that intersection.
And usually when they're hit, it usually is a car coming from traveling south on 98, almost, I think, every time.
Yeah, that intersection can get super busy at different times throughout the day. Then there's other times that nothing's going on.
Right.
And you just never know. But, some of the cars can gain some pretty good speed.
Yeah. And here's another thing. It's flat. So if you ever looked at a flat, straight road, this road looks like it was made with a ruler. It is so straight. And at night, you can almost see the flashing light at the next town, which is 5 miles away. So when you're coming through Gulf Hammock at night, back to Otter Creek, you're just passing the light in Gulf Hammock when you can start seeing the Otter Creek flashing yellow light. So almost 5 miles away. That's how straight that road is. It is straight. And when a road is straight and has no hills, because there's no hills in Florida for the most part. There's a few, but for the most part, there's no hills. It's hard to estimate how fast a vehicle is going because it's so straight and so flat and coming right at you. You're trying to figure out how fast that car is traveling. And maybe people are having a hard time estimating speed.
Yeah. And some people, like I personally, I don't like to drive at night. I wear glasses, you have the reflection of the headlights. And then when the road is wet, it makes it even harder to see. You have the reflection of the water on the roads and this and that. So it just makes different things harder.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that Florida kind of adopted from California, and I wish they'd give them back to California. And that's the squatted truck.
I thought that came from Palatka, though.
I think it's a California thing. It's a California swag where the bottom of the truck's like this and the top. I haven't seen one here like that at all since I've been here.
Well, some of the younger people like it. To each his own.
Yeah, I wish they'd give.
Personally, I don't care.
I wish they'd give that back to California. They can own that. And the other one is the California stop. That's what's getting people killed. Come to a complete stop. Take a couple extra seconds and look. It could mean your life or someone else's. So, but prayers out to that family. We're sorry you suffered that loss. It should not have happened. And hopefully people will just be more careful when they're rolling up to that stoplight, especially if you're going east on 24. Going west on 24, there's no obstructions there, not even trees or nothing. So I don't really know what happened. Maybe you're crossing two lane highways and there's a wide median. So sometimes people will go halfway across and stop and then go across, all the way across, or make that turn.
It's really hard to speak to it unless you were there and but like I said, the end result is still the same. Lives were lost, and that's sad no matter who's at fault or what happened.
There was an older lady, and she actually did an illegal move. I mean, that's what got her killed.
What, that one time?
Yep, it was a car. She was parked at Herschel's, in front of Herschel's, and when she went to pull out, she pulled out and across 2 lanes into a turning lane to go back the other way, that was headed south, a
couple of years
going
ago,
back north, right?
And that was in broad daylight.
As soon as she pulled out, T-bone. So you got to do more than just look at your mirror. You got to look at your mirror and you got to turn your head. And that one
resulted in a death as well,
right? Yeah, absolutely. She turned right into it. Bam. She didn't have a chance.
So there's been a few things. I know sometimes when we were at the post office in our golf cart, you could hear the vehicles just flying by and the golf carts rocking, and
they're doing way more than 55.
We were trying to pick up trash and stuff like that, and it's like, it's a little risky over here.
I even tried to go out on the highway a couple times and pick up large pieces of trash, like pieces of cars that have been hit.
You got to be super careful.
You got to be super careful. I would just walk over and get it, because if for some reason the golf cart doesn't go when you push it to go, some electrical thing, I could get you killed. Yeah. So we'd go over and pick it up and bring it back. But you just got to be careful. You got to, if it says stop, stop. I know people are advocating for a traffic light, and I hate that it has to come to that. If that's what they need, then, so be it. I'm not for it or against it. I'm more against it because you're really inconveniencing the people on that highway, because there are no other signals anywhere near that intersection. The next light you hit is Chiefland, so it's 12 miles away. So you hate to be going, 65, you're cruising, a stoplight. Really, a stoplight at 65? And then you slow down to 55 and you hit. Who wants to hit the brakes at 55 miles an hour for maybe one car coming out? I mean, it's kind of, I get it. I mean, I can understand arguments.
I think you just need people to slow down, pay attention a little bit more. I know when I lived in Morriston, I used to like to go for walks early in the morning when it was still dark out. And on the road I lived on, there wasn't very much traffic at all, especially at that morning. But there was a van one morning that drove off the road and nearly hit me. I'm assuming they were playing around on their phone. They were playing around with something and weren't paying attention, but they almost hit me. That was one of the last times I walked on that road early in the morning because I said it's just not worth it. I'm not going to be out here getting hit by a vehicle because people aren't paying attention and they'd rather be playing around with their phone or whatever else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you just got to be careful everywhere you're at, and accidents happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So just try to minimize it as much as possible by taking some extra steps and paying attention and slowing down.
And how many times has that post office either been hit or really close got hit, and they ended up putting concrete columns back up?
Yeah.
So, and even had to move the blue box up onto the thing and rebolt it down because that's been hit.
I mean, it's been hit twice while I was working there.
There's been
it's just while I was working there, it was hit twice.
And I think I've seen at least 4 or 5 accidents there that have hit the building or caused structural damage. At one point, the canopy even got hit to the point it was dipped, and they closed. They closed the post office.
Yeah, that's because somebody was pulling their boat through. A lot of people like to avoid that intersection, and they would pull through the post office like a cut through. And this one guy was hauling his dad's boat, and the boat was high.
Had a high canopy.
And he hit that overhang.
Yeah.
And yeah.
You got to know how tall your stuff is when you're towing.
Yeah. I think his dad was not too happy with him because he was driving behind him.
It was a nice boat.
So
I bet he was going, no.
It was funny because their last name was Boatwright.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. It's funny what you remember.
But yeah, there's been quite a few little dings at that intersection.
Mm-hmm.
So
it really isn't a dangerous intersection. It's people not paying attention that make it dangerous. And parking in front of Herschel's doesn't help. So if you're on 24 crossing right there, you need to be careful.
But because there's been so many different accidents there, it makes it a dangerous intersection. Yeah. So it makes you think twice about different things because it's more likely that something's going to happen in that intersection versus another one just because it has. So
and people are saying, how about roundabouts? Depending on the state, I remember up in Alaska, they wanted to put roundabouts in, and the public wasn't really on board with it. But then once it was done and they got used to navigating them, they went overboard with them. I think the little town of North Pole now has 3 roundabouts. The university has 2 or 3 roundabouts. They kind of went crazy with the roundabouts.
It's funny because I grew up in the Hollywood area.
Oh, thanks, Jason, for the 20, man. You didn't have to do that. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Jason. We
Our
need
good
to
friend,
send these
Jason.
two some love. Oh, yeah. Go Vols, Tennessee Orange. That's your chat box. Thank you, Jason. We love you.
Yeah, Tennessee beat Texas A&M, number 6 ranked Tennessee, playing number 7th ranked. So that's a good top 10 win for them. And the women Lady Vols beat Florida in Gainesville. So that was a good win for them, and they're ranked 15th.
That must have been an upset in Gainesville.
Well, they're ranked 15th, and Florida wasn't ranked. So women's is a little different than the men's.
Down in South Florida, we always had roundabouts, but they were just called circles. So we didn't, way back growing up, like there was Young Circle, Hollywood Circle, and all these big circles. And so we were very familiar with them. And then in Ocala, they have several.
They do. They have them in the cities. You just don't see them. They even have them in Gainesville. You just don't see them out in the rural areas that much.
Yeah, but yeah, we always had them down south, but we're quite familiar with them, and they just called them circles.
I thought at one time when they had some chatter about them extending the Suncoast Parkway from Citrus County up through Chiefland all the way up to Georgia to Valdosta. And that's still something that could happen. That they thought it might parallel 98, and they would expand 98, and then they put in a overpass system there for the toll road, for the turnpike. I'm for it because it'll bring, I was for it because it would bring more visibility to the campground. As a business owner, you want more people, more business. I think if they did that, it would encroach quite a bit on Zem's business. But they'd have to buy them out.
There was a lot of upset about that because they were talking about going through a lot of the farmland.
That was hot and heavy for a while, and it just kind of died out.
People were so upset about that. But you know what's going to happen? All of a sudden, that'll just pop up again.
It will.
So it died out, and nobody was talking about it, and it'll just pop up again. Oh, we thought y'all forgot about this. Bam, here it is.
And it actually is supposed to skirt. There's actually a forest right there. Devil's, what's it called?
Hammock.
Devil's Hammock Forest. That they were going to cut through there, so it may not be paralleled. It would parallel 98, but not really encompass 98. So there's been chatter about that too, and it would go around Chiefland, not through Chiefland. But I don't know. That table talk just kind of fell off the table.
Yeah, because all of a sudden there was a couple of big gas stations that popped up near the outskirts of where this roadway was going to be. Yeah. And boom. But it'll pop up again. It always does.
It always does. Just follow the money. Follow the money. That's where it is. So,
but yeah, that was some sad news this week. What else have we had going on?
This week, a lot of appointments. Mine came back good, and hers came out positive. She got a cyst removed, so that's good. It's one that had been a recurring problem, so I'm glad we got that taken care of. And we've had checkups. Some were just long overdue checkups we're catching up on. Talking a little bit about TRICARE. I was on the Veteran Nation channel today. We were talking about veteran stuff and talking a lot about the VA and TRICARE and how it works. And a lot of people are against TRICARE, and I've never used the VA. I've always been TRICARE, so you pay a premium for TRICARE. And the only thing with TRICARE is once you get your primary care manager picked out, everything works on a referral basis. So you got to have a primary care managing office that has a good referral clerk in there that knows how to put those referrals in. I am not
thrilled with our primary care manager that we have here.
Right.
At all.
Yeah. Their referral process is very slow.
That put my surgery out for weeks.
Yeah. It could have happened a lot sooner. You know, if you have TRICARE Select, you don't have to go through that. You just go, but you have much bigger copays. So,
and I still need to find a vein specialist here.
Oh yeah, that's going to be something.
Because in May or June is when I'm due for my yearly checkup on my stent. I have a femoral stent. So once a year I have to get my veins in my legs looked at to make sure everything is still good. And so that's the next specialist I have to find here. But because of that primary care manager, it just makes getting referrals horrible. If it wasn't for that, I would say the healthcare here has been great.
Oh, the specialists have been, they've been phenomenal. I've been very impressed with the specialists once you get into their office. But,
I mean, the only problem I had during my surgery was them trying to put an IV in me, and I've got poked so many times.
At least 3.
Which I've never had that problem before.
It was kind of a young staff.
But sometimes I told Brett, you can't be chatting it up with them while they're trying to do stuff. And of course, Brett was chatting it up with them. And here I am getting poked all over the place, and they can't find my vein. And it's like, well, you just...
So it's my fault.
And let them do their job.
It's my fault. They can't find the blame.
You got to be quiet. Some people can't hold a conversation and do those type of things.
So they have to find the vein, and I have to catch the blame. Is that what it is?
That's right. Just be quiet and let them do their job. Yeah. So, but that hurts when they are poking you all over and you end up with bruises all over the place where they were trying to find your vein. I've not had that happen before.
She used an ultrasound, the last lady, to find it. I've never seen them do it with an ultrasound. But
Me neither.
I think with an ultrasound, I could do it. And I've never done it before. It's kind of you can't miss with an ultrasound. That's like cheating.
Yeah, Kathy, you're right. I might have been dehydrated too.
Yeah.
But it was a much younger staff in there. So everybody's got to learn at some point. So, but they were all very nice, and the surgeon did a good job, and
the surgeon I was impressed with.
Close to the house, so
yep,
it's real good. Close. It finally got done.
Yep.
But yeah, that was one of the things that the referrals were holding us up on.
Mm-hmm.
So if they could get that straightened out, that would be super great. I can't believe, though, that there's not more doctors in the area that do that for the primary care manager. That's hard to believe.
Yeah, Tullahoma. Now we're centrally located in a rural area, but between Winchester, Tullahoma, and Lynchburg, we're kind of right in between. It's about 12 miles, 7 to 12 miles to any one of them. Tullahoma's the bigger city, got about 27,000 people, and they have a hospital. They have a little hospital there. And so Vanderbilt Health, I mean, they're good. They're world renowned. So the care was great. They just have a younger staff that takes your vitals, and the nursing staff is much younger.
But I mean, everybody has to start somewhere and learn. So, I mean, the worst one is the last when she finally did get it with the ultrasound. As she's telling me, don't look over, I'm looking over and there's blood going everywhere because she didn't have it clipped in or whatever. So I was just free flowing blood out my arm. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I looked over a little too quickly.
Yeah, I can't do that.
So I'm like, okay, well, hopefully this is the worst that'll happen and we'll get this right out of the way.
I can't do that needle prick thing. No, you got to be pretty good at what you do. Hit it one time, be done, tape it down. I don't like needles. I'm fine with get in, get out, but don't get in, stay in, get in, try to get in again, stay in. You know, that's not for me.
I try to think in my mind that I'm somewhere else.
I try it.
And I try to do that. Do all that, but they were making it a little rough this time.
Yeah, it's hard.
But I'm glad everything went well. And like I said, I was glad that was the worst of things and we got that right out of the way in the beginning.
Yeah.
So
we had 2 big appointments this week that we were anxious to get behind us. But again, the referrals, the lack of a proactive referral system delayed everything. But we got it done, and they're in the system, and they're a provider now, so the referral should be easier. We just have to stay on our referral clerk kind of hard, and I had to make a couple calls over there, just to say, hey, forget about us. Don't forget about us.
Yeah, I think that doctor's office is just overbooked.
It's too busy.
And
it's overbooked
understaffed,
and
which is probably the case in most doctors' offices, honestly.
Yeah, so.
And the big problem is they only have one person do referrals, and if that person happens to be sick or anything else, then no referrals are getting done. They really should have a backup for that.
For a while.
They should have a backup.
They should have 2.
So, but now we can start thinking, where are we going, right? So where are we going to go? Because I don't want to just sit here.
Well, the short trip, I don't know where we're going. It depends on what the weather's doing. If it warms up in Kentucky, there's some places we'd like to see up there. Eastern Tennessee, if it warms up, again, it's all dependent on weather. I don't want to go up there if it's 30 degrees. That's not fun. We'll just wait for it to warm up. We may have to go south. May have to go into Alabama or something. It's not going to be too far for the next couple of weeks because you're going to have a checkup follow-up. So once we get past that, then we should be able to go somewhere for at least a month. But we'll just have to wait and see. You'll call tomorrow and get that date, and then we'll wait and see what happens. I
am ready to get out.
We're trying to eventually get down to Texas, San Antonio area, and see the Riverwalk and the Alamo. I've seen those things, but it's been a long time.
I want a big old steak when I go to Texas because I've been hearing about these big old steaks my whole life. It's like you hear about the pizza in New York. Well, I've been hearing about this steak from Texas, so I want to get me a big old steak.
And barbecue.
Barbecue.
Tennessee has a claim to barbecue as well. The Memphis barbecue.
I don't know.
But it's supposed to be a sweeter. I know we haven't had that either, so we haven't had much going on over here.
Need to get it together, man.
Yeah. We did stop at one little shack here in town and got some barbecue sandwiches. They were all right. They were nothing to clamor about, but they were all right.
They're all right.
I give them a 5. I was expecting, I don't know what I was expecting really. We just haven't been to a real good barbecue restaurant yet. That's the problem. But that's on us.
You better get out more.
Yeah. So what do you think about this? We're going to change subjects here real quick. What do you think about this? I don't even remember the person's name, but it's been discussed on Tug's channel, I think a couple nights in a row, and people were talking a little bit about it in the chat, and maybe they can bring us more up to date. But this $56,000 loss of donation fund to the this other channel that's been the antagonizing channel to the Hales court case, and apparently they've just come to realize that that money wasn't provided to where it was supposed to be going to, and they won't provide receipts or answer for it. There's no transparency over there when you ask them for receipts or for some validation of the money that was spent. They just get mad at you. And I mean,
Oh, no,
would you be
that's-
insulted if you were asked something? If someone donated $20, let's say, to you, would you, and they wanted some transparency on what you spent the money, wouldn't you be able to rattle off something? Wouldn't you
Of
be able to
course.
probably prove it?
I would
if
not
they
be
wanted to?
insulted. I would expect.
Yeah, I would expect
I
to
would
say,
expect to be showing some receipts and transparency. That's a lot of money.
yeah,
I mean, even if somebody donated $50 or $500, that could be a lot of money to a lot of different people. So I would definitely expect receipts and transparency. What's the problem with that?
yeah, like even Jason's $20 donation. We appreciate that, and we'll show you.
What are you going to do with it?
Well, I'm going to show you later in the program when we get to mail. I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to do with it.
Okay. I
So-
can't wait to find out. But yeah, I love transparency. Why wouldn't you want people? I love transparency. Come on.
Yeah,
Because I couldn't have been any more transparent when I was on the board in Otter Creek.
you have to be transparent. Though.
Because you should want that.
Yes.
I mean, it's just like what's going on in our nation. You want the transparency. You want to see the receipts. Because when you know that your stuff is going towards something good, doesn't that excite you?
Yeah,
Doesn't it make you want to do even more?
yeah,
I mean, it's the reason you gave. It's the reason you're part of something, because you want good to come of it. You want good things to be happening.
yeah.
So-
20% of what you make goes to the federal government. Don't you want to see something come back?
If somebody was giving something and donating, I want them to see what's happening. It's like when you go to any animal rescue place and people are donating to that, you should think that animal rescue place should have a little video or walkthrough or whatever. Come visit, come see,
Come see.
what's happening here and where your money is going. You should want those things because it's inviting people to do more and get more involved and celebrate.
Zim did that early on when in fact, I think you were mayor at the time because you didn't get to walk through it, but he opened up the water plant.
Oh,
and
no,
said,
'cause
hey,
I had to go to some meeting.
yeah, come look and see. And I know Jeremy was there. I was there. I think Deanna was there. And I don't know if anybody else was there. I can't remember anybody else. I think Richard was there. But he did a walkthrough, and they have this Connex, which is just a big metal van container with double doors. And it had the pump system and the filter system and all that was donated to the town to use. Remember the one that got taken out of cycle and now it's back in service?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was amazing. It's like $1 million donation is what it is. But if you're not going to use it, you're going to lose it, because what they want is they want to be able to test what the water does going in and coming out of it. And you have to provide samples, and they come and collect it. And it's for a bigger study. That's why they got it.
Right.
And so now that it's back in service, they didn't lose it. So they were lucky they didn't just take it. They should have just taken it, actually. At Otter Creek, I would have just been like, but
you should definitely want people to get excited about things.
It was neat. It's a neat
get
system.
Involved in things, and
yep.
And you as the person running any group or whatever should be excited to excite people with that information.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. It's a domino effect of good that you want to keep going. You should be super excited, and you should be bragging on it and telling everybody all about it.
And you always thought, when you were in the mayor, you always welcomed comments. You wanted
well, yeah, because that's how you create this community of involvement and the excitement.
Yep.
How else do you expect your citizens to get involved if you're not sharing with them what you're doing, what's going on, and letting them know how they can support you and the town?
And this leads right into another something I wanted to touch on is the town, because they talked about this board. This other board is called a what is it when you don't agree with something and you take it before this board and then they adjudicate it.
It's the appeal process,
appeal.
like a grievance,
like a grievance
but
board
it's an
or
appeal process. Review.
Yes,
I don't know the official name.
But this topic did come up in Audit Creek a couple
with the
times
animal control.
With the animal control, because there has to be an appeal process. It should be 5 members, and it shouldn't be the same members that are sitting on the board. Now, it could be, but it could also create a conflict of interest. Do you see how? Because the same 5 members that are creating law are now responsible for adjudicating the appealing of the law.
Yeah, so it's really more recommendable to have people outside of that. But the problem in that town is, I mean, even if they were paid position, you just can't find people who want to get involved. They just don't want to do it. Sadly.
Look, and here's the bulk of it. And I'm going to say it. There's 100 people in that town, and 80 of them don't want to be involved in anything. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to see it. They don't care. 80 out of 100 of them do not care about nothing.
And it's sad because I do believe that once they would start doing something with the animal control, it wouldn't be that time consuming of a thing for this review board to do.
Because it's just a handful of animals causing all the problems.
Yeah, it's the same couple few people with the same couple few animals. And I think once that got cleared up, the problem would be gone. Well, but it's unfortunate because, I mean, it's been going on so long, and it really does stink that you can't just walk through your neighborhood.
Don's got a dog that'll nip at you. He's one of them. He'll follow you around the golf cart. He's always at the town hall. You've probably seen him in many videos. Another one is, I like Richard. I love what he's doing. He's great, but his dog is not great. His dog will follow him all the way out to 24.98. He doesn't care.
Yeah, and he used to have 2 dogs.
And that dog bites.
One of them passed away.
He bites. You turn your back on him, he will bite you. He nipped at me, and he bit one of my residents in the park before.
And the sad thing is that
took him to court and won too, by the way.
Don's dog will also follow Richard around, the little white dog, and then you would have, because Richard's in the town working, them 2 dogs would follow him around, so they'd be sitting on the steps of town hall while Richard's working. And I actually had, when the Catholic Charities came to donate food, they would come with the truck and the gentleman would be unloading the food. I actually had to stand guard because this dog was trying to go after him the whole time. How embarrassing is that? Not only embarrassing, but it's a liability for the town.
The dog
that's the more important thing, that it's a liability for the town. But I had to actually guard this guy, and the guy was so funny. He's like, "So you're the mayor and you're the guard lady of the dogs?" And he was laughing, and he was so appreciative that he did not get bit. But I'm like, I'm not going to let that happen. So I had to stand there the whole time as if I have nothing better to do either. I still had things to do, but I couldn't let that happen. But no one should have to be in fear of that. Not only that, but they were using the bathroom all in front of the steps of the town hall. You have guests coming in, and they're going to step in a pile of dog crap on their way in. That's real lovely.
And so this is an irresponsible dog owner. I don't care who it is. Okay. You're irresponsible. When I first moved there, I had 3 English Springers, 3. No one ever knew I had dogs. Why? Because we were responsible owners of these dogs. They were agility dogs. They were trained anyway. They come when you call them. But besides that, we were responsible for them. They were walked on a leash and put back in the house. Walked on a leash, put back in the house. So,
I mean, if you're an animal lover and you love your animal, you should also be worried about your animal getting run over or things like that.
No, but these irresponsible owners think that it's okay and their dog has every right to run all over the town. No, they don't. Where does it say that they have a right? Dogs don't have rights. Dogs are pets. Owners have responsibilities. So it's very irresponsible. It's saying you don't care about your dog. And you know what? It's also saying I don't care about my neighbor, knowing that it bites. And that wasn't the first time that dog had bitten. And yes, the person that got bit was my mom's boyfriend at the time. He got bit, and he took it to court, and the other people got fined. The owner got fined. Now I think it's the owner's son. Is it the one that went to jail? I can't remember which one it was anyway. So he had to pay a fine and the attorney, not the attorney fees, but the court costs and the vet bill or the bite bill. So he ended up paying about $500 or $700 somewhere in there in total.
I mean, it'd be super nice if the people would just keep their animals in their house.
Mm-hmm.
It would let people know that they not only care about their animals, but they care about their neighbors and the other people in the town.
And you have to know when you sign up to own a pet, let's say a dog in this case, that you're going to be responsible for that dog. That means you have to be, and you should ask yourself these questions before you even get the animal. Like, I would like a dog. She doesn't want a dog. So
I don't want to have to travel with the dog.
Right. And I don't either. So I think about it, I go, yeah, I want a dog, but I don't want to have to get up with it at 6 a.m. and walk it. I don't want, I would do that if I did get the dog because I've made that commitment to the dog. It's just like when you're having a child, hopefully you plan a pregnancy and you go, okay, I'm ready to receive this child. I'm going to be responsible for this child for 18 years. So I'm ready. I've mentally prepared myself. And so I signed on to it. And so
I don't think you can really ever mentally prepare yourself for a child.
You think you can.
You think you can, but
a dog is a lot easier than a child. So it's kind of like a child, but they're on a schedule and you put them on the schedule, you train them. And then the better they're trained, the easier they are to care for. So it's the same in rearing children. If you teach responsibility, then they're easier to raise and much more fun to be around, actually, and then to have some adolescents that are just out of control. But anyway.
Yeah, my sinuses, I'm still a little stuffy in my sinuses, so it does still sound like I have a cold, but I can't knock my sinus. I took Sudafed. It's like the medicines don't even work anymore.
Yeah.
So we could get into this whole conspiracy theory thing about how they're planting viruses everywhere and all these other things, and the medicines don't work, but we don't have that kind of time today.
Yeah.
So we're not going to get into that. But I'm telling you what, none of the stuff has worked for my sinuses. So it's still like I do have a little sinus, I don't want to say infection because it's not really like that, but yeah, it doesn't seem to be going anywhere, but I don't feel under the weather anymore. So that's wonderful. I can deal with a little sniffles or congestion in my nose. I'll deal with that.
And to wrap up the Otter Creek,
I'll just look like Rudolph with a red nose. But
to wrap up the Otter Creek segment, here's what it really boils down to is before you can have like an appeal board or anything, you have to have first the ordinances with the rules.
Yeah, and they don't have that for the animal control either. They
don't have any ordinances whatsoever for animal control. They don't have anything really, even today, where they should have had by now. They should have had some ordinances written in regards to code enforcement. So one, they don't have the enforcement, and not the enforcement, but they don't have the rules, like what can you do, what can't you do. They don't have the enforcement of the rules. So without those two things, you really can't. What's the point of an appeal board?
I mean, when I was on the board, there was the gentleman, the dog catcher, and I personally didn't see the problem with why he couldn't come through the town every so often and do a sweep of animals that were roaming around.
It's only a handful. Like there's like 3 people.
Yeah.
That have dogs that they're out of control.
I don't know why that would have been a problem, but there was so much back and forth with so many other things going on that time. And I felt so bad because he was there and willing to be hired, but we never even got to a point where we were talking about money or anything else. And then everybody wanted to talk about this review board. And I don't even know why you would need a review board for a dog catcher to come in and pick up loose animals. I mean, quite personally, anybody, any citizen can pick up a loose animal.
I mean, I know what I was going to do if that animal came into my campground and bit somebody. This guy was the tenant was walking on the road in front of his house and got bit. He wasn't wrong. He was on a public street and shouldn't have got bit, but he wasn't on my property. Had that dog been on my property, we wouldn't be talking about it today. I'd take care of it.
But I mean, anybody could pick up any animal that's loose and drop them off at the pound.
That's right.
So But I mean, there are some dangerous dogs that you're probably not going to want to try to go picking up because you'll probably get bit. When we were in the campground, the guy that was renting the house over on 24 near us had very aggressive dogs that were always coming into our yard and coming after people.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about.
So I got very upset about that because there was so many times the dogs were coming in trying to bite me in my own yard.
Yeah.
So I ended up calling the realtor who was managing that because it was a rental. And I told her she better do something about this because, first of all, it was a drug house.
What, you say it's a rug house?
Yeah, they were
rug addicts. Oh, they were bad.
They were bad over there, and they weren't doing anything. The house looked like a huge junkyard. There was all kinds of noise all the time. People doing all these crazy dances in the yard and all this hoo-ha. So I called the realtor who was supposed to be managing the property and told her she needed to do something about it because I had had enough.
And he wasn't even on the
He wasn't even on the lease.
Or lease. She was on the lease.
He was stealing water from the town.
Yep.
It was a whole huge mess.
Yep.
But luckily, after that phone call, things were taken care of. And I think that house is still sitting empty to this day.
Yep.
So those are two dogs that are not in the town anymore.
Yeah. They were pits too. They were big pit bulls.
They were aggressive for sure.
Well, now when they saw me, they ran. But I had a technique of scaring them off.
So, but yeah, nobody should live like that where you can't even walk around your own yard for one. Forget about walking down the street throughout the town. We can't even walk in our own yard with that.
Right.
So I don't miss that either.
So real quick too, I wanted to get, all right, we're off the Otter Creek thing. That was just part of Otter Creek.
That was your little drive into Otter Creek.
Yeah. So,
all right, we're driving out of Otter Creek now. Bye.
We're going up. Watch, stop the stop sign. Watch that left. That left is a dangerous left. This money that people are donating, I kind of feel sorry for them, but
you should really do your homework.
Yes.
Anytime you're donating anywhere to anybody, do your homework.
And with this whole saga, and she means in general, but with this whole Jeremy case saga, this whole thing that started this whole thing, look, it's not about whether you like Jeremy or whether you don't like Jeremy. It has nothing to do with it. Most of you don't even know Jeremy. All you know is what you see of Jeremy on a screen. You don't know him.
Your dislike for somebody is a terrible reason to donate to somebody else.
Right. Is this like the enemy, the friend of my enemy is my friend? Is that?
I don't know. It doesn't make a lick of sense to me.
So we wouldn't give you bad advice. If this wasn't something we couldn't advise, we wouldn't do it. But we're just telling you to always look at the situation.
Do your homework before donating.
Look at this side and see what they're advocating. Then look at this side and see what they're advocating. And who is providing the receipts? Who's providing the screenshots? Who's providing the video content that proves? Or who's just doing this?
I mean, it's easy to feel sorry for people.
It's easy to do this.
And of course, you want everybody to be doing good and having good, but some people are just takers.
Gifters, drifters, grifters. That's the word, grifters.
Brett's learning
I'm learning
new words lingo all the time.
New lingo. But yeah, take your time too. You don't have to give 50,000 in one motion and hit go. Take your time. Be like, well, is this a good cause? Do they believe in things? Do you want to help? You know, the problem with this scenario in this case is that you're passing money through three people. So you're giving to one and then they're giving it to someone else and they're supposed to give it to Lynette, I guess, was the end result. And then the Lynette giving it to Grace. Do you think Grace is going to ever see it? It's the same thing. Harley. I'm sorry. Harley. Yeah, I forget the names, but it's just like, why don't we take Christmas?
That's a whole messy scenario.
Yeah, why don't we take Christmas gifts over and give them to her? Do you think she'll ever get them? She'll never see them. She'll get them and she'll sell them, just like she's doing right now. She's just selling them. So right now, no one can get to save the child because the child is in an unsavable situation. If Children's Services can't save them and doesn't save them, they're being derelict in what their duties are responsible. They can. I mean, don't. They don't do it. And why? Because maybe they don't like the YouTuber. Maybe they don't like, I don't know. Maybe the agency is buying into the whole thing too. So I don't understand.
From my personal
It's supposed to be
experience with
non-biased.
CPS, they were never good in the first place,
Right.
way before any of these things. Like, they've always been a fail.
It's another government agency
experience.
where the people get comfortable and complacent in their jobs and they can't be fired. That's what it is. It's the same at every level. What is it with the post office? Another government agency that, the federal government shouldn't be involved in because they can't manage it properly. And so it needs to be taken out of play and civilized. I mean, it has to be, what's the word I'm looking for?
Privatized.
Privatized. Thanks. I'm an advocate for privatizing the post office because that's the only way you're going to fix it. You have to fire it all and restaff it, especially with the middle management. Your carriers and front counter workers and your sorters, they probably do a great job. But by and large, the problem is the middle management. And I won't even get into the union stewards and all that garbage.
We ain't got that kind of time.
We ain't got that kind of time. But anyway, if they want to fix these things, some things just need to erase and start over. But if these people were legitimate in raising money for someone, then it should be going to those someones. And you should be able to see some benefit from it. Now, if the people in the middle who are passing the money to them is benefiting, like they're getting a free computer or a free car or then you need to question that, because you're supposed to be getting money directly to the person and they're not getting it, or you're not seeing any evidence that they're getting it. They should gladly provide evidence. Open up your books. Show your books.
It's like those things on TV you see to help the animals.
Yeah.
And I never understood why any of those places send blankets and T-shirts and bags.
Yeah.
And like the one that they send the dream catchers to people.
Yeah.
Isn't that cutting into the bottom line? That like all that should be going towards the charity.
Yeah, the money should be going one way, not.
Why are you sending these gifts?
Well,
like,
if you
that
donate,
never made sense to me.
Yeah, if you donate $20, you get a T-shirt. I don't need the T-shirt. I'm donating to your cause. Save your T-shirt. Quit buying T-shirts and giving them away.
So yeah, that was one thing I never
take the money
understood.
and give it to the elephants or to the dolphins or who it is they're supposed to be rescuing.
I know when I delivered mail, you had anybody who ever gave to any of these groups were getting dream catchers for the rest of their life. And then they're trying to give it away to everybody they know, and nobody wants the dream catcher.
Hey, and if it's a 503 or a 501c3, then give to the 501c3, and it has to be documented. If it's not documented for public access, then it's being mishandled. Straight up. Straight up. So I don't know.
Straight up.
So straight up, can you tell me?
Uh-oh.
Paul Abdul.
Uh-oh.
Straight
I'll
up.
be starting no Paul Abdul up in here. Doing a little choreograph.
So just be careful with your money. Jason has been very generous, but he has met us. He knows us. We're not going to misappropriate his money. It goes to a good cause, and we'll show the cause here shortly.
If you mess around, I'm going to tell him all about it. Jason is family now, so
yeah, he's family. So
I was talking earlier. Sometimes you don't know who your real friends are, and sometimes you just have people in your life for a season, and they're not lifelong friends or this and that. But I said, you know what, Jason, he's family. Like, he's well past the friend zone. He's forever.
Yeah, friends typically.
Jason is stuck with us.
If you had good friends, and let's say you're under the weather or it's been publicly broadcasted that you're not feeling well, usually your friends should reach out to you and say, "Hey, how you feeling? How you doing? You feeling any better?" That's a friendship. That's what that is. That's actually genuinely caring about someone, and that's what I've noticed here when you come to Tennessee. It ain't like in Florida. They're like, "Oh, hi, how you doing?" It's in passing. They don't really want to know how you're doing. They're just saying hi. But here, when you say, hi, how you doing? They're like, oh, hi. And they actually want to know how you're doing. They're like, no, I heard you weren't feeling well last week. How you feel?
Yeah, they really care.
They really want some dialogue with you. They want to get to know you, or if they do know you, then there's a dialogue. So it's really nice to be around friendly people.
And I'm bad sometimes. I'll do this little test with some people, and I'll be like, I'm not going to text them. I'm going to see how long it takes that I don't hear from this person anymore.
Yep.
To see if it actually ever bothers them, because sometimes you just get people in your life and you just wonder, if there's somebody you can count on. So occasionally I'll do a little test with some of my friends, and I just won't text them anymore, and I'll see how long it goes before I hear from them.
Yeah.
So I know that's probably not a great game to play, and maybe they're doing the same thing to me, and maybe we'll just never talk to each other ever again.
And be prepared to not.
So that could be a bad game to play, but yeah, sometimes I do that and just be like, oh, well, let's see.
And be prepared not to hear from them, because that's probably what's going to happen. So prepare yourself for that if you're going to play that game.
Yep, be prepared.
Be prepared.
So, yeah. These are the wicked games.
If you want to go over the different levels of membership and thank the moderators real quick, and I'm going to grab something out of the refrigerator and we'll move into the mail segment.
Oh, are you going to make milkshakes?
No.
I've been wanting a peanut butter chocolate milkshake.
No, I like a peanut butter.
Anybody else want one? I would love one. So I would like to thank all our moderators. You guys always take care of us and do such a good job. I remember the days when we had no moderators and how terribly hectic it was. And back then we used to have a crazy chat, and it was flying negative, crazy all the time. And since you guys came on board, everything has been so nice, and I appreciate you all so much. You keep everything positive, and it's just good to have you guys with us. And what did you want to know? Our membership?
Yeah, let them know about the members.
We have 2 levels of membership, and one is the snowbird, which we need to practice more on how to be snowbirds. And that level is $5 a month. And with that, you just get some emojis and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm going to cough. I still have that little itch sometimes in the back of my throat.
I still get it too, but it's a lot better than it was.
Oh, yes. I'll take it. And then we have the resident for $10 a month, which we usually go live once a week. Mm-hmm. And occasionally it's a video if we have bad reception, or one week we were just way too sick. So we put out a video instead. Oh, there's a pretty cardinal I see out the window. Sorry. Squirrel.
Cardinal.
And I think Brett did that one actually while I was getting my surgery this week.
Yeah.
And that one is $10 a month.
And we keep them reasonable so that you guys can, if you have the opportunity and you want to donate to the cause, I guess is really what it is. And you get a little extra of us. You get a little more one-on-one.
Yeah. When we're traveling more, I know the membership live is a little bit more exciting when we're on the road, because we're always in a new, different place, which hopefully will be soon.
Yeah.
I know originally when I set it up, I did that when we were on our way to Alaska, because I thought, it's going to be so cool to be able to have these guys driving with us. And then while we were driving, you guys could see the mountains and all that cool stuff. So that's when I originally started it, and hopefully we'll be on the road again soon.
Yeah.
Because I have serious cabin fever.
Yeah.
You know what it's like sometimes when you're stuck in a cabin with just one other person and you guys are like irritating each other and like, and
Go for a walk.
So that's been us a little bit lately, where we're just a little irritable, and then you're feeling a little under the weather. So that doesn't help either. Sometimes the people you're closest to, you can also be the meanest to. So, So what'd you get? My milkshake?
Well, before I get into that, we'll go ahead.
I didn't get a milkshake, guys.
We'll go ahead and move into our mail segment.
Peanut butter cookies. I love some peanut butter cookies.
So this is from Jason, if you haven't already guessed, and we thank him so much for the gift, and the very thoughtful gift, because Madam Mayor has opened the gift already.
I did right away.
She's already taken it and already has a positive review of it. So
These are the yummiest vitamins I have ever drank in my life, actually. See, I was wondering too, when Jason had messaged me about these liquid vitamins and he was telling me about them, I had actually just been talking to Brett the earlier week, wondering if our regular vitamins actually are doing anything. Because if they are, why do we keep getting sick? So then he sent me this link to these vitamins, and I was reading about it. It says 98% of it gets absorbed into your body, whereas your regular ones, very little gets absorbed in your body. And then Jason was just like, I'm just going to send her a bottle. So he did. And I thank you so much. They're delicious. You're supposed to drink an ounce of it a day. So this is what we're trying out. And so far, I like them. So we'll just keep trying it out, and we'll report back at the end of the month how I feel.
It tastes better. Huh?
Oh my gosh, that stuff tastes so good. They're the
OD.
most yummiest vitamins you'll ever have.
Can you OD on vitamins?
Probably. So you better measure carefully.
Yep.
So they are delicious, and I do thank you. But yeah, we were just wondering if the regular vitamins even work. Because if so, why would we still be getting sick? It would be shameful to think you're wasting your money on all these vitamins.
Skipper says he can't believe I get irritating.
Really? Is this like bros before hoes type of thing?
He's kidding. He said, Brett, irritating? No, that doesn't happen.
Like a bad rash, bro. I'll send them to your place for a week and you let me know.
Hey, Veteran Nation, we do plan on getting out toward the west.
You know where I want to go so bad, and my sister's been sending me all these little video clips. Arizona. I want to go there so bad. There's so much beauty in Arizona.
Sedona area. Yeah.
She has just been sending me all these clips, and I'm like, oh, I want to go, and it looks so nice and warm there.
And I have a son who's moved his family to the Las Vegas area, and he's currently over in Korea, but he'll be back, and he'll be coming back to some base. I don't even know if it's an Army base or what.
I've never been to Vegas.
He's in intelligence. I know it's an oxymoron, Army intelligence, but he reclassified into intelligence, and now he's over in Korea, and he'll be back with his family. Maybe we can visit Las Vegas. That's pretty close to you, Mike, right? So
I want to go there. There's some neat stuff. I mean, I'm not a gambler or anything, but there's a lot of neat shows there.
All the lights and the whole spectacle of it all would be neat to see.
It's something you should experience.
I think I could see it all in a day, though, what I'd want to see. But who knows? Hoover Dam, that's pretty neat. I've seen that on the way over. We'll go ahead and move into our soapbox segment. So what is my soapbox? I don't have a soapbox segment, do I?
All day long. All day long, people.
I don't have things that I'm upset about, do I?
All day long. I get to hear it and I'm like, oh my gosh. I tell them all the time, you know what? You should have your own little podcast so you can go out there and talk to the people instead of just talking to me about it.
I don't want a whole podcast. I just need 5 minutes.
So far, I haven't gotten them to do that. But
so today's segment, it comes to us from... I first thought of it in Sam's Club because a guy did it right in front of me in Sam's Club.
You should have a special microphone for this segment.
Probably.
So I could.
One of those echoes.
No, you'll annoy everybody like I did that one day out in front of the meeting.
So you're going through the store, you're pushing your little cart. You decide you want this bag of chips. So you grab the bag, you put it in your cart, and you go on about your business.
Open it?
Nope, not yet. So then you go on around and you're in some other section of the store now, probably another 10 minutes later. And then you decide for some reason you don't want that bag of chips. What should you do with that bag of chips?
Let me just throw it on the shelf.
Yeah, let me just put it on the shelf over here with the electronics, right? So my pet peeve is like, if you're going to borrow a cart, put it back. If you're going to take some product off of a shelf and then later decide you don't want it, that's fine. But go put it back where you got it. Don't leave it there thinking that, well, I pay these people the money they make from, these chips or this soda that I buy, they can restock the shelves. They're paid to stock the shelves in its proper place.
Is that how people sound that put stuff back on the shelf where it doesn't belong?
That's what they sound like. In fact, this
I didn't
guy,
know.
you
Now I
know,
know.
he knew he was wrong because before he set it down, he looked around. He looked around and he set it down. And I'm like, did he just do that? Should I go call him out? I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to put this on my.
I have a real problem with it when
I'm
it's
going to put
something
this
that's
on my Soapbox
refrigerated.
segment.
When it's something that's refrigerated,
Yeah, I don't know what the
people leave
product
just
was.
sitting somewhere, then I
Yeah.
think it's a problem. I can get over the other things, but when it's something that could go rotten, that's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, put it back where it belongs. That's called just doing the right thing. So let's
doing
use
the right thing.
Let's doing the right thing. So let's take Walmart. They're a good example. Let's pick on Walmart. So,
Wally World.
So you see a lot of carts spread out all over the parking lot, not just where the carousels are, but they're all over the place. So I know some people think, well, I go in there and I spend money so they can pick up the carts. Well, great. Yes, they do have a staff and they rotate going out and collecting all the carts. But guess what? You're paying for that. You're paying for it with the product. If the product costs $5.10, now you're paying $5.35 for it. Why? Because they got to pay a bellhop basically to go around and collect the carts. So why not put the carts back, or at least put them in the carousels if the store provides the carousels? Now, what it does is it keeps the price of your products cheaper than they would have been if you didn't. Like, look at Aldi's, for example. Those of you that shop Aldi's, I love Aldi's. There's a lot of savings can be had at Aldi's. The reason that they're not paying someone to go collect carts is because they have this little coin system. You put a quarter in it, it unlocks the cart, and you get to use it for free. If you take the cart back, you get your quarter back. If you don't, you leave it in the parking lot, it costs you a quarter. Somebody else will probably grab it so they can get a free quarter. Because I look for carts that are sitting out and I'll grab them and I'll put it back and get my quarter. And it's like a coupon. But I think that's a brilliant idea. And inside,
someone said they found empty containers on the shelves before buying it. That's really bad.
Oh man. And then also inside, they don't bag your groceries. They put them back in the cart and you bag them. That's fine with me. Bring your own bags, or they sell bags, whatever you want to do. But that's another savings to you, an opportunity for you to keep the prices of food down. Because Aldi's is cheaper than most other stores.
I like to bag my own groceries.
Yeah, and plus we have cold bags that we like to bring with us. So we take 2 or 3 bags in the store with us. We get a cart, we put a quarter, or we grab a cart, and then we return the cart and get the quarter. Sometimes we return 2 or 3 carts and get a quarter and make 75 cents. But we use the cold bags because then we can put the cold items, like she likes almond milk, so that goes in there. It goes right into the cold bag. And then we close it up, and then it's cold all the way home.
Yep, that's right. I like me the nut juice.
So, yeah, that's my soapbox. If you're going to borrow something, put it back. Just like if you borrow something from your neighbor, don't you give it back to him, or do you wait for him to come ask you for it?
Where's that $50 you borrowed from me?
I didn't borrow no $50.
Yeah, you did.
You got a receipt?
I do.
If you ain't got no video, then it didn't happen.
Remember that contract you signed?
No. I guess we'll take that up later. But yeah, just be kind. Be kind and rewind. You remember that?
Oh my gosh.
The VHS tapes from
Blockbuster.
They charge you $1 if you didn't rewind the tape. So
man, I remember Friday, Saturday nights, you'd see everybody at the Blockbuster.
It takes very little to motivate somebody to put a cart back. Like 25 cents will motivate most people to take carts back. But they won't think to take it back if they don't get paid for it. Like, you're getting paid for it by not forcing the employees to do what you should have done. That's how you're saving money. I mean, people think that, well, I pay enough in groceries. Well, here's the thing. They have overhead they have to pay. They have to pay the bills. They have to pay the employees. And then they have waste. And so when someone steals from a store, that's doing the same thing. That's making the cost of products and services go up.
You mean like everybody's stealing eggs right now?
Yeah.
They got a bunch of egg thieves on the loose.
They do. They're opening the cartons.
You open your cartons.
And they're taking eggs out of the carton. They're sorting the carton.
You should be checking your eggs anyway to make sure there's none cracked. But now you got to check them just to make sure they're in there.
Eggs are expensive. They're coming out to be about 30 cents a piece.
Like, that's crazy.
That's not enough to start stealing them, but for some people, maybe it is.
Somebody's going to have a pocket full of scrambled eggs by the time they get home. That's crazy.
What people will steal, it's just, I don't know why they steal. I don't get it.
I guess they just feel good about getting one over on somebody. I don't know.
They're not getting over because it's going to come right back to them. They go out, they steal something from Walmart, they come home and they find out somebody stole their shovel. So, it comes right back to you. If you do right by others, they'll do right by you. It's the golden rule. And, if you're following God and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing for him, then he's going to pay you back 10 times.
Welcome to Snowbird, Karen.
Hey, Snowbird. Yay.
This season, I hope to be a better snowbird.
Yeah. So the whole snowbird and resident levels are pertaining to travel. Like if you're new somewhere, you're a snowbird to that region. Like a lot of northerners go to Florida when it gets cold, they're snowbirds.
Yeah, I grew up in South Florida and I said, man, I want to be a snowbird so bad because when summer rolls around, I want to get the heck out of here because it's hot.
And so resident, we made the name of the next level because if you stay somewhere long enough, what is it? You become a resident. So then you're resident.
So right now we're being residents.
Yeah, we're being residents.
I want to be a snowbird.
And we want to be a snowbird. So we're trying to graduate back to snowbird status.
Yeah, we didn't do a very good job of it this year, but that's because of the health reasons. So next season, we hope to do a way better job and not be hanging around when it's cold. We want to be in those warm places, enjoying those nice warm weather things.
Yep. So we're looking to not being here December through February, those 3 months. We want to be somewhere else. So, and that's just because it's not that we're scared of the cold weather. It's not that the cold just kind of shuts everything down because
if you don't have
the roads
to be in
are
it,
dangerous.
Why be in it? That's all.
The heating costs are more. Roads, things closed too. Campgrounds closed.
And I think more people get sick from being shut inside.
Yeah.
So if you don't have to deal with it, why deal with it?
That's right.
So I always wanted to be a snowbird. That was my big dream was to travel and be a snowbird.
Yeah. So
I got to be better at it this go around. This practice run didn't turn out the bestest. So
we want to thank our moderators in closing, and thank you for what you do in promoting the channel. We appreciate it.
We love you.
We pride ourselves on keeping the content friendly and positive, even though sometimes we get into subjects that may not be so positive. They're interesting.
Yeah.
So we have to cover them.
I don't harp on them. And
right. We don't go on and on about it.
I don't want to go back and forth and
so
do all that business because nothing good comes
so
of
with
it.
all of this money contributing to people, just be cautious know who you're giving your money to and
and I've always said
it's
that
going to in general.
You work hard for your money, and of course you want to be helpful to other people. You're blessed so that you can be a blessing to others, but make sure you're not just giving handouts to a trash can, but make sure you're giving hand ups and actually helping, and it's going to the right places, because nobody wants to do a bunch of hard work just to stand over a trash can and be feeding it into the trash.
Right.
That's really wasteful, and your whole intent was not for that, I'm sure.
Right.
So
we hope that those people come to realize what's really going on and who the good people are, and not that they have to give to the causes, but just to realize and open your eyes as to what's going on, to get the truth.
Yep. And continue to pray for everybody and for hearts
on both
to
sides.
Soften.
We pray to both sides.
Yep. God doesn't want you to just pray for who you think is the good people. And, he sat at the table with sinners and some real broken people.
He uses broken people to solve problems.
He sure does.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you're praying for those people. They really need it. So there's a lot of evil going on in this world, and it's sad to see. And I don't know what joy you can get out of doing any evil deeds, but you'll be much more rewarded and feel much better if you start doing good stuff.
That's right, because it rewards your heart when you give to a good cause, or when you give of your time. It doesn't always have to be money. You can give of your time. You can give of if you're particularly got a skill in something, you can give in that way. There's lots of
You
ways
can
to
give your time,
give.
your talents, your treasures.
Yeah. I would far rather have someone's time than to have their money, to be honest.
Time is the most valuable thing you could give.
Yeah, because you can't get that back.
It's like children. You can give them all these little gifts, but believe me, when they grow up, they're going to think of all that time that you spent with them and the activities you did with them more than some stupid gift you might have given them.
They're more likely to remember that weekend at the cabin on the lake than they are that $100 you gifted them.
Yep.
Guaranteed.
True story, bro.
So think about your gifts. Be thoughtful. Give of your time if you can. Prayers go out to anyone who's nursing an illness, or if you're sick, we pray that you get better and
definitely.
And God looks upon you and gets you healed in the right direction.
And newsflash, we're all sinners and none of us are perfect. So try not to be too harsh on the next guy and try to put yourself in their shoes and think about how you could best help them.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you could be a mentor to somebody, but we are all sinners. So pray for everybody. Yeah.
And we go to church because we enjoy it and that we're trying to learn and we're trying to make ourselves better. If we were perfect, we wouldn't have to go to church, right? But we go to church because we're broken.
But there are no perfect people.
Right.
We're broken.
What are hospitals for? They're for the sick people. If you're well, you don't go to the hospital. So, you go to church to improve yourself, to make yourself a better person.
There's a song I love by Casting Crowns called Broken Together.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just a good song because that's what you are. You're broken together.
Yeah.
So if you get a chance, listen to it. Casting Crowns are an awesome group. I love them. They have lots of good songs.
Oh, we stopped by the that Savers Supervise store today after church to see what they had. It was the $5 day, so we just walked through. We didn't get anything, but there was someone playing Christian music out in the parking lot on a loudspeaker. And
he was playing a violin and everything. I'm like, that's awesome.
Like, where's that music coming from? And everybody was like, I don't know. People coming in the store behind us, they were like, I don't know, but I like it. I was like, that's
it was awesome. Cool. We need some more of that.
Yeah.
I always say if people just broke out in a song and dance every so often, life would be better.
Put everybody in a good mood.
Sure would.
Oh. So I just want to share that. I forgot about that.
Now I want to go to another Casting Crowns concert.
Well, we
need to keep an eye out.
We have to look one up. I'm sure Nashville has them. Anyway, we want to thank you guys for joining us this afternoon. Madam Mayor's Adventures, live at 5. We're every Sunday live.
Happy birthday, Amy.
We do 3 regular release videos a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Look for those. If you hit subscribe and then you hit the notifications button, it'll send it to your
special and look for those.
It'll send it to your device and say, hey, check us out. So thank you for this evening. I'll let you I know Tug goes live at the same time, so I want to get you guys over there. He's probably just getting started into his content anyway. He has a long lead in, so it takes 30 minutes for him to get to the meat of his subject. But anyway, great people. Love Megan, love what they're doing to help Jeremy's case. And I like the way of their approach. They keep it funny. But what I like most about their channel is when they're working together. When they get to the actual meat of the subject, they're reading the documents and they're giving their personal knowledge of court workings. That's what I like. I so much when they start to deviate and make jokes, that's when I lose them a little bit. But I like to listen to the content when it's the meat of the subject. But I think they're entertaining. I think they're good at what they're doing. And I hope she keeps digging up new stuff. And I hope Tug keeps talking about it. And we support the channel.
And hopefully all this mess ends soon. And would be great so everybody can get on.
And we try to support other channels as much as we can. I get on them. Sometimes I always hit the thumbs up button, but I always don't dialogue. I don't always get in and say hi. Sometimes I do if I think I have time to go back and forth. But if I'm just listening and doing something else, I'll hit the thumbs up and just listen. But hey, we appreciate all the channels that support us and we try to support them back. We love you guys. We'll let you guys go. You guys have a great Sunday afternoon.
Thank you, everyone, for spending time with us. Hope you all have a super good week.
We're just happy to breathe.
Breathe. I can breathe.
Breathe. Fresh air is good air.
All right. Y'all take care of each other, and we'll see y'all soon.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Much love and peace.
And go Vols.